You are watching Xirtus.
Yeah, I hear you on that. I think that there's a bit of philosophy in all three, but they take them to different levels. Ideology is a lot closer to theology. That's a pretty close fact, which is sad about ideology because then it makes it kind of like there's a quality to ideology which is an opiate of the masses, but it doesn't always have to be. Neither does religion, it seems. But I would say the biggest scare in all three is when it becomes about and this is something I've noticed is separating the advanced philosophy memes APM group from the original group is this idea of edgelord status. There's something political correctness. Religion is a political correct philosophy or ideology in its own way. At the time, they believe that what's politically correct is this, and so they go with that, and they say you can't do this and this and this and this because these are breakable rules. But ideology does the same thing. They say that you're not the new Soviet man, you're not a good American, you're not politically correct. It goes back and forth like that. So I think that religion, and ideology at the same are kind of separate from spirituality or philosophy. Do you think that plays true in some of the older philosophers that were stuck in the church in the 1500s? I mean, there's some of those guys. Do you hate Thomas Aquinas? Do you hate Saint Cyril? What do you think of some of the Slovenians from the 1500s?
Yeah, I mean, I try to understand that if you have like 100 guys around you that are just top intellectual activity and they all accept the assumptions of the church. I mean, I accept the assumptions to some degree of the intellectuals of my time. So yeah, I try not to be too harsh about it because I know that I'm accepting a ton of bullshit and I just haven't figured it out yet. And I will try my best, but that's only so much years I'm gonna have until I'm just gonna, get stuck in my ideas as a kind of protective system against the truth that I'm gonna die one day and I'm gonna disappear and nothing's gonna matter. At that point, I'm just gonna defend my ideas as a kind of defense mechanism.
Do you ever have one of those days where you just imagine Schopenhauer dying? Schopenhauer, just you imagine him dying and he's just arguing, that's what he's like, I knew it.
I haven't done that yet, but yeah, that sounds like something everybody should do now that you said it.
I mean, I hear you though. I mean, it's like hard not to take it contention with religion that, because there's so many contradictions in society and in religion, but philosophy and political science seem to be doing the same thing. We have now, like you just said, maybe we shouldn't be so forgiving, but we should be more self-critical of our going with things. Not to say that we should abandon the things that we are taking for granted, but that we should probably figure out why we're investing in that horse more. I think, and that's why philosophy is so valuable right now. Do you have thoughts on memetics too? Like, what do you think about memes? Like, are memes more valuable than just cartoons?
Well, I started with memes in 2016 with a Facebook page called Trolley Problem Memes, and basically we used that page back then to we just used the format of the trolley problem to get different philosophical ideas across the wider audience. And
can you explain to the few people who haven't heard of the trolley the problem?
Oh right. Okay, so basically you have a out of control trolley barreling down the tracks, and there's 5 guys on the track. Either they are workers who are just not looking, and you can't war them because they have protective protective headset, or either they are just 5 guys being tied to the tracks. Doesn't really matter. And what you can do is you can pull a lever to switch the trolley going to another track. but on that track there's one person. So you basically have to choose: are you gonna pull the lever and effectively kill one guy in order to save 5 people? And yeah, there's the trolley problem, very popular thought experiment. It gets used all the time in philosophy.
There's different versions of the trolley problem. There's like, do you save the baby or do you save the scientist, or
or do you run over baby Hitler, or do you run over, I don't know, baby Stalin, or whatever, or real life Hitler, or 5 Hitlers.
I still say the trick is to like kill everyone at once by hitting 4 people and shooting the other one with a gun. If you can get them all at once, that's the most efficient Stalinism, and that's ideology.
Yeah, you can also like pull it halfway so the trolley derails and then kind of stays on both tracks, and it multi-track drifts and kills both lanes. So you can also do that. That's that has been a popular meme for some time.
This should really be a video game. We need to make that trolley video game. I'm pretty sure.
There is a video game like that actually. There's been, I think, since 2016, there's been 2 trolley problem memes game, and one was only about going with the mechanics of multi-track drifting, and there was one that was kind of more philosophical. Would you top lane, bottom lane, stuff like that? But yeah, since there's so many variations, you can use it to basically describe any sort of either moral dilemma, either abstract dilemma. You could put any philosophy ever into a trolley problem meme. You can make a prisoner's dilemma trolley problem meme, or anything, a natural state trolley problem meme, or a Kantian trolley problem meme, or a presidential trolley problem meme, a COVID-19 trolley problem meme. I mean, and those just it's a very
your values. Every meme is about your values, because at the end of the day, if you had to save one and the other had to die, where are your values? And it's a tragedy hypothetically, but it's an essentiality to understand. Like, let's say we're going to make artificial intelligence robots to save Will Smith's daughter. You know what I mean? Like, that's the movie. You have Isaac Asimov's rules. So the robot has to decide, the young person has more years, so I'm going to save them, or this old person might only have 10 more years, but they're in the process of developing the cure for AIDS, etc. And there's that very Bogakov master in the margarita quality where you have to be the devil in a sense because you're the judge and you're not supposed to judge. But it's a hard thing to avoid, because we need to look at the end of the day, where are our values? Like what would we kill and let live, if we had to? And it seems like this. How do you feel like this is going to affect the future of artificial intelligence, and do you think that that's a factor in terms of the way its philosophy? Our artificial intelligence is going to be like police or judges and saving people using the trolley problem?
Mm-hmm. Well, much of that is currently a matter of discussion. Actually, in Ljubljana, there's going to be, I just heard, there's going to be the first UNESCO center for an artificial intelligence, and they're going to have a department that's going to take up some philosophers who's going to be like the guys in charge of ethical questions. And philosophy, that's a lot of in academia. There's just a ton of papers currently being printed out on the ethics of artificial intelligence. Everyone that has just a minute of time has something to say about that and just contributes to it. Even my schoolmates have been doing their bachelor thesis on artificial intelligence. Either like one made it on the autonomous, I don't know how to pronounce that, the self-driving vehicles, the ethics of it. And there's been one about the general ethics of artificial intelligence. And this has been this is one of the biggest topics in the upcoming decade, probably, in philosophy in general, probably. So I don't really, I never dealt with it particularly. I have some general ethical theories that I ascribe to, but like in regards to artificial intelligence, I think that whenever it will be better than human, it's going to be used. I think so. If it's going to be less car crashes with artificial intelligence driving the car, artificial intelligence are going to drive the cars. If the radiologists are going to make more mistakes than a software telling whether there's cancerous anomalies going on in a scan, I mean, then artificial intelligence is going to be in charge of telling who is sick and who's not sick. So yeah, I think that yeah, we just have to. I mean, there's this danger that it works so well that it could take over everything. But well, should it take over everything? That's a question that I haven't dealt with particularly.
I think about it a lot. I feel like that's like the only thing that's going to happen is that every job that can be done twice will be automated. And this is the actual Marxist, like the Marxist future is sustainability of the growth that was captured. So you capture it once it rises, you capture it, and it just keeps going. Only in things, selective things, you want to keep running because there really has to be a reduction of labor as well as a rise of, well, a lack of entropy. There has to be a lack of entropy. And this is the only way we have selective economies that we continue to run. But with that, that's why I think philosophy, if you look at self-driving cars now in America, and I think around the world, the car company will pay the insurance. So if you don't have to pay insurance, it's a lot cheaper to drive your car. So if they're paying the insurance for the AI car, it will then become more and more expensive to not drive an AI car. And it makes sense because the AI cars can all integrate into a hive structure, and the hive mind can then make sure cars can drive 120 miles an hour because there's no outside interactions. They should all be able to do whatever they want. So there's high efficiency to it. But then there's also what jobs are left. And 100 years ago, I think they, the Indians in India were upset that they were bringing a crane in so they could bring a train, so they could bring salt crystal bags to the boats and they could bring supplies. And now everything that took a month can be done, or a week at least, can be done from 100 or 200 men, can be done in about 12 hours. Overnight, they can get all these crates, they can lift them, put them on trains, and they can go. And so now everyone has access to all of the resources, but 100 years ago, people were complaining that they had, that they wanted to keep walking 20 miles with salt bricks on their backs, 100 pounds or 200 pounds on their backs for 10, 20 miles, So I see that also today. There's a lot of people that say they want to keep the dignity of working in a coal mine, but there's the capacity of a drill to be safer and to keep that person's life safer means that we probably shouldn't waste that life on them.